Everyone, back to you into today's video. We're going to have a look at weather for the next 8 to 10 days. In today's video, we'll be taking us up to around the 5th of December into the new month. 25th of November today, of course, so we're just 1 month away from Christmas Day. And of course, tonight I'll have a new update on the events page for Christmas. A little bit late with that. I promise you the 10th update would be last night, but I ran out of time, couldn't do it. So it'll be tonight if you want to see what's happening for Christmas on the latest CFS V2 come back around 7 o'clock tonight on the events page. You'll have a look at that. But this video is going to be having a look at the next 8 to 10 days. Going into December, it looks as though the times are changing a little bit in terms of the weather patterns as we go through into next week. High pressure looks like it's going to be building in. It could be quite a cold high pressure as well, so at the very least could be looking at frost and fog, but I wouldn't entirely rule out the chance of that high pressure getting up to Scandinavia and pulling in a bit of an easterly wind, and if that happens it could start to get really quite cold indeed. It's probably just a low risk, maybe no more than 10-15%, but it is there, the chance is there. The models are sort of hinting at it, particularly last night's parallel run of the GFS. And by the way, what the parallel GFS is, it's the new version of the GFS model. The GFS is having an upgrade and it'll be fully operational in January. Very exciting developments with that for us weather geeks, because it means that high resolution part of the GFS is going to be going out to 10 days, 240 hours. I'll go through that with you in another update. But anyway, last night's parallel GFS, which is supposedly a slightly better model, and improvement anyway on the current model that we use, we're showing a really bitter easterly wind setting in as we get into November. The idea has been dropped this morning, but the model is sort of flirting around with the idea, and some of the other models are as well, so we can't entirely rule out that there could be some sort of easterly blast as we go into next week. But let's play it safe and say that the most likely situation is probably for high pressure to build in and give us a spell of quite frosty, foggy type conditions. We'll have a look at all the detail in there. Just want to mention me ads. There's links to articles sitting underneath the weather video here on my homepage at gazweathervids.com. Have a browse through the widget, and if there's any articles that you're interested in, just click through and you'll be able to go off and read those articles when you're finished at gazweathervids.com. Of course, there's green keyword ads on some of the pages. You right cursor over green keywords, they'll display ads. But if you click through the word, go to advertise website. And you'll be helped to support gazweathervids.com by doing that. There's a ad unit down near the comment box, and the Amazon shop is still going strong and will be up to Christmas Eve. So if you've got any Christmas shopping to do at Amazon between now and Christmas, just click through the Amazon banners in Gav's shop, take you off to Amazon, and you'll be able to do your Christmas shopping as normal. But because you've clicked through from Gazweathervids to Amazon, you're able to support the website. Thanks so much for doing that. So let's just have a look at the GFS temperature and precipitation ensemble to start off with. The red line here is the 30-year temperature average, and we're going above average over the next few days. Actually, we're above average now, would you believe? It was a very cold night last night, though, so this just tells you that the upper air temperatures do not tell you everything at this time of the year. The surface is more important at times than the upper air temperatures at this time of the year, because last night was very cold. Some places got down to -3 degrees, so a proper frosty night, despite the upper air temperatures being relatively warm. That's what we call an inversion. It's warm aloft, but down on the surface, because of the heat radiating away into space, it gets cold quite quickly. So the upper air temperatures anyway are going to be above average through to the weekend. I think the temperatures will push up actually at the weekend. It will become milder, getting back towards around 10 degrees 50 Fahrenheit. Getting to next week, this is Monday the 1st, just here, the indications are that the temperatures are dropping, the upper air temperatures are dropping, and the surface temperatures will be dropping as well. So by the time we get through to the middle and last stages next week, actually we're going a little bit below average. We're going below the 30-year temperature average. And then beyond that, as you get through into the second week of December, quite a lot of scatter, but notice these very cold outliers beginning to appear. We've got one now, sort of a rusty red line, and we've got a blue line, but are both going really quite cold. This one goes severely cold, this red line very overdone, but this blue line is quite interesting. That's going pretty cold as well. They no doubt are easterly winds beginning to push very cold air in from the east. Now they're outliers, they're on their own really, they are not part of the grouping, they're not part of the pack, but just got to keep an eye on this because, as I say, the parallel GFS was hinting at it last night. It's not that far, I'll show you the patterns in a bit, but it's not that far from bringing in some sort of an easterly flow as we get through into the first and second weeks of December. The rainfall is drying up. We've got some rainfall to come today and tomorrow, but after that it looks like we're in for a drier spell actually as we go through to the start of December, although the spikes do begin to come back into the second week of December. That's a very long way off. Not really worth worrying about. It looks like we're going to have a drier spell of weather coming up with high pressure beginning to ridge in. Here's the temperature anomaly for Tuesday the 25th to Wednesday the 3rd of December. Still a little bit above average out in the west, but notice Europe is getting colder. Cold air has come down into Russia, and those colder than average anomalies beginning to extend through Poland, starting to push through in towards Germany as well. So all the signs are there that the continent beginning to cool down after a very warm autumn, beginning to cool down with the continent over the coming week. The rainfall anomaly from the 25th to the 3rd of December shows that it's going to be drier than average, significantly drier than average, many parts of British Isles, and that extends through into many parts of Europe as well. It's wetter through the Mediterranean. Notice that. That's indicative of low pressure starting to track southwards as high pressure builds to the north. That's quite interesting as well. Here's the generic GFS, how we start December. This is Monday the 3rd of December, and a bit of a messy pitch, but we're bringing a cold front down across the country. This area of low pressure to the north. That's starting to introduce colder air. So after a warmer weekend, it'll turn a bit colder as we go into start of next week, and then behind that cold front, high pressure begins to build in. So this is the high pressure that I was talking about, building in as we go through into the middle of next week. There it is on Wednesday the 3rd, sitting right over the top of the country. That's going to be under quite cold air, so at the very least there's going to be frost with that, and probably quite dense fog as well, maybe freezing fog and frost we have to worry about as we get through into the middle of next week. But where does that high pressure go after that? Does it just stick over us, or does it begin to push northwards? This is the day 10 GFS, the latest one, 6 o'clock run of the GFS for Friday the 5th of December. And there's the high pressure beginning to push up to Scandinavia. Notice it's going northeastward, so we're beginning to bring a slack easterly flow in off the continent. The very coldest areas up here to the east, the high pressure around the back of the high pressure. We aren't tapping into that at this stage, and actually I won't go further, but we never do on this particular run of the GFS. But it's interesting that the GFS is trying to shift that high pressure up to Scandinavia, trying to bring some sort of easterly flow in. Here's the upper air temperatures for day 10, Friday the 5th of December, and turning very cold up to the northeast around the back of that high pressure. Otherwise the upper air temperatures aren't too cold, but it doesn't tell you everything. If you have a look at the dew points, this is for low level surface air, very cold dew points there through most parts of Europe, and that's beginning to extend in towards the British Isles as well as that high pressure drags the flow into the east. So at the very least we've got to be watching out for frost and fog next week. Maybe not snow at this stage, but certainly frost and fog could be an increasing problem as we go into next week. There's the temperatures down on the surface indicating most of Europe will be very cold by the end of next week. Could be down to -5, -6, -7, -8 degrees across many parts of the continent. The ECWF has that high pressure extending through the country to start next week. We bring the cold front down as we go into Tuesday the 2nd, so we bring colder air in from the northwest, very similar to the GFS. Then the high pressure builds back in through the middle of next week. That's under cold air, so frost and fog is increasingly our problem as we go through into the middle of next week. Not yet tapping into very cold air, and we never do on the ECWF. It just keeps the high pressure over top of the country as a mid-latitude high pressure. Frost and fog then is our problem as we go through next week, and those frosts could be really quite significant. The GEM for the start of next week, this is Tuesday the 2nd of December. We're brought a cold front down, and we're sort of in a slack easterly flow. This is always a little bit different to the other two. But as we go through to the middle of next week, Wednesday the 3rd of December, actually we're bringing in quite a cold easterly there, and that could be enough to bring some snow showers, would you believe, into East Anglia and South Eastern England. There, I've said it, the magic S word has come out for the first time this year. That could be bringing in snow showers to the south and the east. But the GM, the Canadian, is always a little bit different to the other two, so I wouldn't go certainly running away with the idea that we're looking at snow showers in the east next week. I don't think we are. As we get through to day 10, Friday the 5th of December, it's all got rather messy, but we're probably bringing some sort of cold front down across the country, that bringing a band of cloud and rain. But overall, still sort of the high pressure up over Scandinavia, still the low pressure around Greenland starting to be blocked. So, very interesting charts. I think the GEM it's always different at its extended range, so let's not sort of get away with the idea that there are going to be snow showers going into the southeast middle of next week. I think we're looking at a spell of frost and fog really next week. I think the high pressure will build in as the GM and the ECMWF, the GFS and the ECMWF are both agreeing on. The high pressure builds in within quite cold air, so frost and fog increasingly likely through next week. And then we've got to watch where that high pressure is going. GFS wants to send it up Scandinavia, hinting that we could start to bring colder air in from the east, at least surface cold, if not the proper sort of Siberian sub-zero cold air. Yeah, I think we're looking at frost and fog next week, and certainly the patterns are changing, I think, here, and very interesting development. So we're going to keep monitoring it, keep checking back for more updates, and tonight it's the latest Christmas update on the events page, so come back for that. That's all for now. Thanks for watching.